You're listening to the VICK757 podcast featuring Dwight and Michael Vick talking all things tech.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the VICK757 show, talking all things tech. We're back here at it again, giving you that insight from myself, Dwight Vick, former All Big East and captain of the Hokies, and also my young cuz, MV7 is in the building, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, cuz. How you doing?
Doing real good, man. This thing is really taking off, man. I'm just really happy with all the fans we getting with and all the feedback, the support. We keep getting new subscribers every day. It's just really good, man. The Hokie Nation, y'all keep showing us a lot of love. Matter of fact, want to make this announcement real quick before we jump into some other stuff. Keep sending us your videos. We've gotten a lot of videos letting us know how you became a Hokie, your favorite Hokie moment. Make sure you email those videos to us at the VICK757 show at gmail.com. You still have time. We're getting ready to close it out, but if you want to keep sending it, listening to us, we're going to lock you in. Me and Mike are going to pick a few. Then you'll be eligible to get a signed autograph, memorabilia, paraphernalia from Mike and I, and also some Victory Life gear. So we love the feedback. Jump in this contest. It's going to be a lot of fun, man.
It's all fun and games. We appreciate the support. We appreciate the love. And we want to just continue to spread, the knowledge and, all the contributions we can make to our viewers and our fans, and they deserve it, man. They deserve to know what's going on. They deserve to know the truth, and especially coming from two of Tech's legends, it's an honor to be in this seat alongside of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. And it's also an honor to have two sponsors. I want to make sure I give them some more airplay this week, man. First off, man, I want to shout out Alexandria Restaurant Partners, man. They are located in Alexandria as well as Orlando, Florida. They have several restaurants. I've actually been to one. One of the restaurants is Theismann's, and it's in Alexandria. I've been there actually with the wife and the family. There's also the Majestic, Mia's Italian Kitchen, Paulette 22, Cafe 22 Tango. That's my favorite. That's located in Orlando. I love saying 22 Tango. You also have the High Tide Lounge and Vola's Dockside Grill. That's in Alexandria, Virginia, as well as Ada's on the River, and also the Vera Pier Wine and Bar. So shout out to Alexandria Restaurant Partners. To find out for more information about careers, reservations, and also insight into what they are about. They were founded in 2015, and they got exceptional leadership where they partnered in 2016 and 2018 with other restaurants. And they were built to make sure that they were not only the best in the nation, not the biggest, but also achieving operational excellence, leading with integrity, and being extremely transparent. So shout out to Alexandria Restaurant Partners. Awesome. If you want to learn more about what they got, check them out at www.alexandriapartners.com to learn about private events and sign up for more offers. I will be going out there. I live in Northern Virginia. I've been to Theismann's. That's Joe Theismann's restaurant.
I'll be there. Yeah, I'm going to Theismann's. I'm going to hit Theismann's and a couple other restaurants. So we appreciate the support.
Absolutely. I also want to shout out our other sponsors, SoulHoodie.com. Check them out. Check their videos. Shop their gallery. A lot of your favorite athletes, including yours truly, Mike, is rocking with Soul Hoodie. They also joined the sponsor train last week, supporting the VICK757 show, talking all things tech. Some of your favorite athletes, go to www.soulhoodie.com. You'll see our sponsors' logos on this podcast. Also, we're going to put some more information on our IG account so you can check out Soul Hoodie. Got some your favorite college and pro teams. It's the hoodie, very urban, very hip. They got it for everybody. High school, young kids, moms. You want to work out. It's getting cold, getting dark. Early Halloween's coming. Also a great stocking stuffer. Great stocking stuffer. So check out soulhoodie.com.
No doubt.
So those are our sponsors. And shout out to our fans. So look, all great news except for one thing. Tech fell short again to Syracuse. 41-36, cuz. Just another disappointing loss. 3 straight losses for our Hokies, man. Syracuse is now beating Virginia Tech 3 straight times. Even though they don't play every year, but they lost in 2016 and prior to that loss in the early 2000s. So Syracuse, not a great team themselves, came into that game, have losing 10 straight. We're going to have Danny Knopes jump on here in a few with his notes. But what were your impressions, man, when you saw the box score and you checked out the game? And, you know, what were you feeling, man, when you saw that?
Dwight, I thought this was a game that would be our bounce back game. I thought we would win this game and go on the run, the stretch run that you and Danny both talked about. Y'all talked about them being able to run the table. And I'm seriously disappointed. You know, I'm disappointed after what happened last week and the week before. And I tried not to dwell too much on the past and what's happened. So that's why I let the Pitt game go. But I thought Syracuse would be just an opportunity for us to take a step in the right direction. And we didn't do that. And I'm pretty sure Danny's going to elaborate on it a little more. I'll probably talk more about it throughout the segment. And I can't wait to hear everybody's thoughts and what they're feeling right now. But it's truly a lot of concern in Blacksburg. And, you know, we've seemed like we put forth our best effort on a lot of different occasions, but we're just coming up short. And, you know, I just can't wait to break this down, continue to dive into this and see what actually happened.
Yeah, I agree. Danny definitely going to bring some heat and give us some insight. I'll just say this. I've gotten a plethora of text messages and DMs on Twitter and Facebook. People have called about who the next coach should be and giving me suggestions. I want to let this be known as a disclaimer.
It's a good conversation we need to have, too.
This is the VICK757 show talking all things tech. We want what's best for tech. At the end of the day, accountability is essential from the equipment manager all the way down to the guy that holds the extra point for the kicker. At the end of the day, we want to see tech do well. I'm sure everybody in that locker room is hurting. I know Whit Babcock, the AD, is paying attention. It is what it is. We still have a season left to play. I'm not getting involved in that. We'll talk that if it happens at the end of the season. If they go to a bowl game, which they still have a slim chance, there's still a lot of football left to be played. Although right now, three straight losses is tough to fathom, especially in Blacksburg. But this seems to be, unfortunately, a trend that's been occurring the last few seasons, man.
I'll say one thing, Dwight, and to all our fans watching. And we appreciate y'all support. We know y'all got a lot of concerns out there, and, you know, rightfully so. But I'm not for firing a guy mid-season. That just creates more turmoil. You know, what it do on the external, people look at it like, oh, man, they don't got it going on. It might be some young kids out there looking at our school who might want to attend Virginia Tech. We get a lot of good airtime right now. You know, we on the tube. And we sending guys to the pros consistently. Those guys have been playing some, you know, good football in terms of some individuals. But, you know, I don't agree with firing guys mid-season. And that's a good conversation. I can't wait to talk to Danny just to see, you know, what the feel is in the Berg right now.
Well, it'll be good to get Danny's insight, too, because he was at the game, again, like the Notre Dame game. He was in attendance with his fiance, his girlfriend, and his friends and his youngest brother. So Danny went to Virginia Tech. His younger brother, Andy Knopes, went to Virginia Tech, and there's another brother there who's currently a student. So the Knopes family is like the Vick family.
They like the what? They like the Vick family. They like the Watt brothers. They like the Watt brothers and the Bosa brothers. The
Knopes brothers. And you know what though, guys? You talked about young players. Actually, ironically, when you said that, right before I logged on and we got set up for our podcast, Tech just got another commit. They got a player.
I just read it.
Yeah, they got a player that committed today. So that makes, excuse me, I don't want to misquote. I believe that's 24 commits in the 22 class. So even though Tech is 3-4 overall, 1-2 in the ACC, they got a commitment. Nobody's decommitted, and their class, you know, recruiting rankings are fluid, but their class is ranked 20th, a top 20 class, depending on which publication.
That's pretty good.
Rivals or 247. So it's interesting that I feel like that's why I said, you know, you have Georgia Tech this weekend. It's a noon kickoff. Georgia Tech is 3-4. Tech is 3-4. Georgia Tech lost a tough one to UVA on the road in a shootout, 48-40. So, I mean, they're going to be desperate for a win, but they're struggling on how to rebuild since they lost their coach Paul Johnson a few years ago. So they're in transition. Again, a winnable game for Tech. Will they follow suit?
Can I ask you a question real quick before we bring Danny on?
Yeah.
Because I know you know more about what's going on in recruiting, and I'm going to get up to speed on what's going on in a short period of time. But any quarterbacks committed right now, where they from, I need the MO. The quarterback is our essential problem right now that needs to be addressed.
Well, they have a young guy. Gosh, I should know his name because everybody was pulling for him. I'm sure in the comments when we post this, it's going to be someone saying it or emailing me or texting me. But they have a quarterback that's there now traveling with the team. He's redshirting, a guy that's a dual threat quarterback. I hate the fact I forget his name, but he is apparently a guy that you want to keep an eye on. A lot of people thought, he had a great summer, a great preseason. And then as far as recruiting, I do think they know. Maybe Danny can help us because I know we have so many players committed. I don't keep an eye on recruiting as much as I used to. So what we're going to do for our fans,
will now.
Yeah, we will. I'm going to make sure we get guys in like Danny and even maybe my guy Evan Watkins who works for 247 at some point. Danny, what's good with you, man?
How we doing, fellas? I'm doing all right over here.
Yeah.
Good to be here. Good to be here as always. Just, I'm coming off another tough one. Was in Blacksburg this weekend, though.
Yeah, I was just telling Mike you were there. I was telling him.
You was in the building.
We were joking because I told Mike, you guys are like the Vicks. You got you, Andy Knopes, and then also the other young Knopes that's a student at Tech.
That's correct. That's correct. We got young Brady Noakes as well, and he's not a broadcaster like Andy and I have been at some point in our careers, but he's doing great down there. By the way, that was the best part about the whole trip, obviously, because you had the loss, but at least I got to spend some time with my brother, right?
Yeah.
I told Dwight y'all like the Watt brothers in the different realm.
yeah, or the Edmonds brothers, right?
Yeah.
Edmonds brothers, or the Bolsa brothers,
Hey, Danny, Mike was just asking before we get into your thoughts on the loss for Virginia Tech to Syracuse. What is the name of the young quarterback, the dual threat guy that everybody's high on? He's redshirting right now. He's the backup to the backup. His name escapes me. The young guy on the current Virginia Tech roster. Do you know his name?
You're not talking about Blumrick, are you?
No, not Blumrick. There's another kid, right? Everyone was calling for him when Blumrick got hurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta check that one.
Yeah. See, again, I know you know who I'm talking. Do we have a quarterback committed at this time? I gotta check.
Oh man, I'm like you, dude. I don't keep up with recruiting like I used to.
Obviously not. Obviously not. I mean, some breaking news. We all should have heard about it. So that should be the search, man. That should be the primary focus. I'm shifting gears right now. I'm looking at this season not as a wash, but it's not a lot we can accomplish, and that's one of my questions for you, Danny. But I'll let you kind of recap on what you saw and what you thought before we get into it.
Yeah, man. I hate to label the season a wash too, but it pretty much is, right? I mean, that's at the point we're at now. Even if they came out and played a good game against Pittsburgh, the result probably wouldn't have been a whole lot different, I think, because this team is they're not on the same page, and we saw some good individual performances in this Syracuse game. I mean, Malachi Thomas, holy cow, that dude exploded. He was fantastic. He was so much fun to watch. And I think that he has a bright future ahead of him in Blacksburg too. And hopefully he sticks around in Blacksburg. We've seen so much player mobility and guys leaving the program recently. That's just something that is really concerning, especially when you think of guys like Hendon Hooker who are having really successful careers elsewhere. So when it comes to the performance that we saw on Saturday, though, it was incomplete, just like the whole season has been. It was a couple of good plays here, but then just a ridiculous defensive lapse again at the end of the game. It was almost identical to what happened against Notre Dame, actually, because Virginia Tech had a chance to put them away late. They end up punting the ball back to Syracuse, just like they gave the ball back to Notre Dame, and then the defense just lets them go right down the field. In the Notre Dame's case, it was a field goal, but in this case against Syracuse, it ends up being a nearly 50-yard touchdown pass. And I don't know if you guys saw the freeze frame of the actual play, but someone got a really good picture of it. And it was a great play by the wide receiver for Syracuse, because my goodness, it was darn close to being a broken up pass. And we might be having a completely different conversation today. Right. But that would just be 1 week, and obviously the overarching issues with the program still loom, but we'll see what happens week to week. I think that's kind of how everybody's playing it at this point.
Danny, I got some stats per David Till, the great Hall of Fame journalist David Till, who covered both Mike and I and a million other great college, high school, and pro athletes. He put out some numbers on Monday, excuse me, after Fuente's presser about the stats. I'm just going to throw a few out because there's a lot here. I think this is the most alarming. Virginia Tech, who is now 3-4, 1-2 in the ACC, is sliding towards its third losing season in 4 years. I mean, we're all Virginia Tech alumni. We all care about this program. Is that something if they finish out, and, it's a big if the size of New York City, but if they finish out and win the rest of their remaining games, does he, I don't want to put you in the hot seat, but what do you change if you're Witt? What do you do? I mean, because 3 losing seasons, if they don't finish out, in 4 years, 3 losing seasons in 4 years is rough. That's tough.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's certainly not up to the Virginia Tech expectations that have been set forth, starting with you guys. You guys are the Vick family was here as the Virginia Tech program started to ascend. And now those expectations don't drop, they stay the same, and you have to meet them, or you can't get the job done. And so when it comes to Witt's decision, though, there's a lot of factors that get weighed in there, and a lot of them have to do with financials. So for him, it'll probably come down to how big of a hit that they can take. What I'll say is, first of all, the people that are attacking the man's character are going too far, right? Because none of them actually know him as a person. Yeah. And they're obviously fans that are just very angry with the way that the season has gone. And some of them claim to have had interactions with him. And I understand that he's not as friendly as Frank Beamer, but that doesn't mean that he's a bad person, right? So the people that are jumping to those types of conclusions are no question going too far. But, when it comes to the way that he's handling everything that's going on right now, I mean, there's obviously criticism that needs to be laid. And, when it comes to what Justin Fuente can do to potentially hang on to his job, I guess, we saw what Brian Kelly did at Notre Dame a few years ago when he was faced with a similar issue. He looked like he might be on his way out, but he ended up changing, I think, both of his coordinators. Both of his coordinators, and they've turned it around since. Notre Dame might be one of those teams that is a little bit overrated every season, but they're certainly better than they were at that point where it looked like Brian Kelly was going to lose his job.
I'll take overrated over irrelevant any day.
Exactly.
11 wins, 10 wins. I'll take you can call me overrated while I play in this college football playoff.
And that's the problem.
Yesterday, I think Cincinnati 5-0 or 6-0, something like that, man. It's just wondering what's going on.
We're in the Halloween season. What's spooky about what's going on here, guys, is that we are sliding towards irrelevancy, and people are becoming apathetic about the program, and that's why, from what I see, it doesn't seem like a good fit, Justin Fuente and Virginia Tech. And it's not because he can't be a good coach, because I think he can be a good coach in the right situation. And he's a guy with roots in Oklahoma and Texas and that part of the country. And he doesn't really have roots here in Virginia. Now, I understand if you're a recruiter, you're a recruiter. You can get guys. Yeah. You're a good coach. You can win ball games. But, for a guy like Justin Fuente, who didn't have any Power 5 experience before this, but he was still a young head coach as well. And you could still kind of consider him a relatively young head coach. But all of that factors into everything that's going on. It's not like the guys aren't out there playing their tails off every week. It's really tough to watch, because on one hand you just want your team to win, and you want them to take all the measures. But then on the other hand, it gets to those difficult decisions that Witt has to make. And he's going to take a hit with all of this too, because Witt was the guy that, was chasing Justin Fuente early after we learned that Frank was going to be stepping down and retiring. And that was supposed to be the guy bringing the innovative offense. And now, until the Syracuse game, look where we were at. And let's see if they can sustain it, because now you got to go on the road for 4 of your next 5 games, and it's gonna
I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, I'm gonna just tell you something that I heard from a alumni who, and it disturbed me. He was just, kind of ranting and venting a little bit. And he was like, we like a year or 2 away from going into an ice age. And I'm like, an ice age? What the hell does that mean? And it was more so him referring to, we sinking into the abyss. Nobody's going to be thinking about us, talking about us. There's no interest. And, that scared me a little bit. But, I asked both of y'all just in a short, like, if you had to fix this Virginia Tech team moving forward into the future, where would you start right now? Would you start on offense, defense? Just a quick perspective.
That's a great question. D, I'll go first. I would start offensively, and I would do what Beamer did in 2004. He went with a youth movement. They lost a crushing loss to USC. USC was the defending national championships. I was at the game in person. It was at FedEx Field. Controversial call with the offensive pass interference brought the game back. Also game changed when the DB tore his pectoral muscle because he was shutting Reggie Bush down. And Eddie Roy was in that receiving core. A lot of guys that end up being household names. And after that game, Virginia Tech was at 2-2, and they were looking at a gauntlet of an ACC schedule. And he just said, you know what? I'm going with the youth movement. We're going to be more explosive. We're going to just, whoever can make and help us win, go with it. The kid, what's his name, Danny? Malik Thomas, the young running back that had the great game.
Yeah,
Malachi Thomas, excuse me.
Malachi.
This guy is a freshman, and we waited till week 6 to see him. He should have been on the field. Whoever can play, if you can change it right now, I would make changes on offense. If that means, letting some coaches go because they're not getting it done, then so be it. I look, you mentioned Kelly did it. I remind people all the time, Beamer did it. And Beamer is a classy coach. This is a business. Yeah. You got to save the program. And that Ice Age comment, Mike, is what I fear as well, because I can't stand irrelevancy. So offense, you got to make some change. It's just too much talent. I don't care about who's left. It's just too much talent, man. But Danny, what do you say?
So before I get to my answer, Dwight, were you thinking of Knox Kadum? Is that the quarterback that you were thinking of?
Not Knox Kadum. I thought it was another young kid. See, this is again, I don't know. This might be my old age.
Todd Bullock.
Bullock. Thank you.
Yeah.
The Taj.
Yeah,
everybody on Twitter was talking about let the Taj era begin. I know they weren't talking about to my homie Taj Boyd. Taj Boyd don't play no more. So Taj is the dual threat quarterback everybody was talking about this summer, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Again,
I was like, there's no way he was talking about Knox Kadum, right?
No.
Yeah, and Dwight, maybe that's the youth movement you're talking about, right? I mean, maybe you do go to that guy if you're Virginia Tech at this point. I'm definitely starting on the offense too, Mike. Like that's where Virginia Tech has struggled more this season up until the Syracuse game. I mean, the defense was who had a rougher day against the Orange. I mean, giving up over 500 yards, over 300 yards rushing is absolutely ridiculous. But I would definitely start on the offense side of the ball because for the last couple of years, it doesn't seem like they've ever had a consistent ability to move the ball. And what I saw against Syracuse is something that I've, wanted to say and have been saying for years at this point, is that we have decent running backs. We have running backs that can get the job done. They might not be David Wilson, Ryan Williams, Lee Suggs, Kevin Jones. I mean, it might not be one of our legends, but I mean, we just had Khalil Herbert last year, right? He was the best running back that Virginia Tech has seen since David Wilson. And now Malachi Thomas has this breakout game. We hadn't seen him at all this year, Dwight, like you said. But Raheem Blackshear had a pretty good game too. He ran for almost 70 yards. And Jalen Holston, I feel like, is who we've started to see the least of at this point. But I mean, whoever they're going to give the ball to, you have guys. Like, that's the thing. I know that their recruiting isn't the best, and Justin Fuente definitely seems to struggle, particularly recruiting the state of Virginia, although UVA is struggling to recruit the state of Virginia too, because the guys are just leaving, So for Fuente, I mean, that offense just has been absolutely stagnant for most of his tenure, except for, the year that he had Gerard Evans. And it tailed off as Josh Jackson got more banged up, and you saw that he was making a lot of those plays in that second year. So it seems like a lot of that scheme on the offensive side of the ball is what's not working. And I'm trying not to throw anybody under the bus. Honestly, that's what I'm thinking about, right?
But Danny, I'll say this just from this seat right here, and as one of the biggest Virginia Tech supporters of all time, like that's my school. We built it together, all
right.
three of us and everybody else, involved. But the offense got to change, man. You talking about schemes and teams, they study you and they look for tendencies and what you do, and if you're doing something, look like somebody else. And taking nothing away from Fuente, everybody's offense is looking the same. We even got offenses in the NFL that's looking like college offenses. So you got to just evolve the offense. You got to change it. You got to throw in wrinkles, and it's just a little next level. But hopefully they'll figure it out over the next couple of weeks, and we'll see some different things, because that's what it's going to take, different concepts to open up different opportunities, I think.
Yeah, I agree, man. And Danny, man, we want to thank you again for jumping on with your notes, man. Always insightful. And also, shout out to you for going up to the Berg, man. I would say it was you jinxing us, but it's not you, because even when you don't go, we lose. But you went to 2 games, Notre Dame and Syracuse, and we lost.
It's not funny. It's not funny.
but it's not you, D, man.
I won't be going back.
You, man.
Yeah, thank you guys both. For sure. Hey, I really appreciate it. Appreciate you guys always. Hey, hopefully we got a different outcome on the road here in Atlanta this weekend. But
absolutely.
Hey, we'll see. Appreciate you guys.
They're going to Mike's old city. They're going to Mike's old city. Welcome to the A.
Right.
Hey, D, stay up, man. We'll talk soon, buddy.
All right, man. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Danny.
Great insight from my guy, Danny Knopes, man.
Awesome.
I think, he broke it down, man. Like, at the end of the day, man, that was a great question by you, man. We just got to, whatever it takes, man. Again, I mean, you got to burn the red shirt. I don't know, man, but I
agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes, man. I mean, I remember they almost burned your red shirt, but we had Dave Meyer, shout out to Deep Ball Dave, and Nick Sorensen stepped up because Al Clark was banged up.
Yes.
Yeah, man. But we're going to get some more veterans in to join us right now, man. We're going to bring in 2 of the all-time great. We talked about the running game. I got some real professionals for this job to break down the running game, man. Joining us now on the VICK757 show, talking all things tech, is former Oscar Smith standout running back, J.C. Coleman, and also my guy from the depths of North Carolina, Josh Oglesby.
From the depths. Come on in.
Yes, sir. Man,
Josh,
excited to join y'all.
Man, y'all looking good. Y'all looking fresh like new money, man. How y'all doing?
Yeah, bro. I mean,
trying to keep up with y'all.
You in a coach's seat right there. You a head coach somewhere, man. Like,
that's what I'm feeling like right now. That's what I'm feeling like right now.
Hey, man. Hey, you know what? I just want to thank you guys again, man. J.C. Coleman, you've been on my legacy spotlight, man. Fans loved it. When Mike and I made the announcement that you and Josh were going to be on, man, fans immediately on Twitter and Facebook, on IG got excited. Josh, you've been on other podcasts. People were talking about how great you were. So this was great that we could get you both on, man. You guys were both great for Virginia Tech. Josh, when I used to come back to Tech, when you were playing there with Tyrod and Logan, I always told you,
for sure, I
had so much respect for you because you were one of my favorite running backs, because not only were you physical, and Mike, you can't tell right now because he got the hoodie season on, but this dude used to walk around with the straight.
I remember.
He made my. He was strong.
I remember on the sideline. It was like Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah.
It was like Schwarzenegger.
and JC, I knew you when you were at Oscar Smith. You were huge in getting so many guys from Oscar Smith to Tech, and you also reminded me and Mike and so many fans, the older fans, of Andre Kendrick. Because you guys were small in stature, but you had that punch, you could carry the rock, and it's just great to have you guys.
Never got hit hard.
Yeah.
I can't remember a hit that was like, yo, that was crazy. I still can't remember one.
Yeah, and JC, I don't know if you can see, I got the watch on. Mike, I don't know if you know this, but one of the biggest things, JC Coleman, I believe we're playing Ohio State, right, JC?
Yeah.
And we had the maroon jerseys on, and everybody on Twitter, everybody back home in the 757 was talking about, matter of fact, it was on ESPN, everything. JC Coleman was running with the watch on.
Stop playing.
Yeah,
the gold G shot. The gold G shot.
Hold on. Let me find out you broke a barrier, bro. Because I only know one other person who did that, and that was Odell Beckham. I think he had the Richard Millie on one game, and he had the Richard Millie on one day in the NFL game. So it's only a couple people that can pull that off.
Right, man. Yeah, I just did it, man. It was kind of a bet thing, man. I had on between one of the team. They're like, I dare you to do it. I'm like, well, I ain't gonna do it. So you know me, man. I'm like, man, I'm gonna go out and get the flashiest, the most vibrant gold watch out there. Went and got it, and I wore it in warm-ups. And coaches ain't really say anything at first. And I got to the sideline at halftime. My mom she pulled me over. She was like, you viral right now. I'm like, for what? She like, your watch. And it just kind of went crazy from there, man. It was kids all over tagging me. I'm doing my best JC Coleman impersonation. Like, got to watch.
That's what I'm talking about. Trendsetter, baby.
It was crazy, man.
Well, look, man, guys, this is VICK757 show, as you guys know, talking all things tech. And JC, man, I see you on Twitter, man, and I've seen you back home. You are, like me, a Virginia Tech ambassador. Josh, you always had great insight. You were a very, very intelligent player. You also always have great insight. And I want to get, Mike and I both want to get your thoughts, man. Just, we don't need any hot takes. We just want your insight, man. If you're keeping up with tech ball, Josh, I'll start with you. Well, I was going to start with him. I think I lost him. But JC, I'll start with you until Josh gets back on. Yeah. What are your thoughts on what you're seeing right now, just this season in Blacksburg?
Yeah, right now it's tough to be a Hokie alum, a Hokie fan right now, man. Watching the ball game, watching us, kind of struggle. The last three games in particular, losing 2 out of the last 3. We had a lead in the fourth quarter down to the final minutes, and we lost it like that. And it's been real tough, as a former player, man. But kind of what I see a whole lot, just kind of my take on what I'm seeing. Is of course we're having some real struggles on the offense. The defense has played, well enough at times to win those games. Even though we had some breakdowns, towards the end of the game, but I just feel like the offense we got to step it up a little bit. I think we're like I was looking at some stats, before this, and we're like 13th, out of 14 teams, only ahead of Clemson. They're having their struggles right now. Only ahead of Clemson in total offensive scoring, whereas the defense is like 4th and 5th. And then you look at like the passing and rushing efficiency. I mean, we're down at the bottom as well. So we got to figure out a way to get a little bit creative. And then I think we got to get a little bit more aggressive too, man. It's during the final stretches of the game, we've been playing kind of passive and kind of trying to protect the league instead of keeping a foot on somebody's throat and trying to bury somebody. So that's kind of my thoughts, man. It's been real tough. It's been real tough to watch. It's been heartbreaking.
Yeah. If you could talk to the team right now, what would you tell them? Because sometimes you need a little pep talk. Bring in a veteran player or a player who was a former player. Have them speak to the team. If you was in that moment right now, what would you say to them?
Yeah, man, I would really gather the team on, man. We just got to come together and say, man, look, we not losing. Like, just simple as that. Like, we got to bring the dog out of everybody, and we got to come together and say we not losing. That play that we got to go make, that one play that somebody got to step up and make. Like, who gonna step up and make it? At the end of the day, and I think that's what we got to come and say. I haven't been to the game since the UNC game, so I'm not really sure. If we have like that overall team leader to bring the team in and kind of energy. Right.
Yeah.
I can't really speak to it, but just listen to a couple other podcasts and things. That's kind of like, kind of the running thing right now. It's like nobody knows who the outspoken leader is. And I don't think that's good when you talk about, you know, football team. Every team has it. You know, we had Sam back then. I think they talked about Jason Words. I heard Jason Words' name talk.
A
whole lot. But every team has that one or two guys that's just like, yo, we are not losing this game. Who gonna step up? Who gonna make a play? And I think that's what we're lacking right now.
Nah, I think Dwight. I think to his credit, and guys, you don't see anybody on the sidelines taking leadership, taking ownership, or, you know, in terms of gathering the troops, like that's the goal. You don't see a rally. I think we got to see more of that. Some guys got to step up. Just to your point, we need more leaders.
Right.
Yeah. Josh, what do you think, man? We lost you for a second, man. What are you thinking just about the program this year, and also, you know, what JC just said?
Man, you know, I hate to see the state we're in right now. Just thinking back to when I was there, when everybody was there, you know, we had a winning mentality. You know, losing back-to-back games normally didn't happen. We got to find an identity. You know, when I look across the ACC, most teams that are good, they got great, consistent quarterback play. I really do like BB3, but I think sometimes it's just about putting him in position to do his thing. Defense, I really like what Jay Ham got going on. He's been doing a great job putting the guys in position. We've been in a lot of games. I think the Pitt game was the only one that, you know, we really didn't stand a good chance. But even when you watch that game, we had opportunities. It's just about digging deep. You know, I think back to my high school program. I never forget, my coach told me, it ain't about you. It ain't about the people that's in the locker room. It's about the people that came before you. It's about the people that's on this podcast. Wow. It's about everybody that was in that stadium before us. So I think whenever you sit back and think about that, man, that makes you just dig a little bit deeper, because you're like, hey, I'm playing for y'all, but it's people that came before me that done did what we trying to do, and we got to pick it up. I think if those guys heard that, and maybe they saw, you know, some of the OGs that came before them, man, it makes you kicking into another gear.
That's so true. Josh, you were there from 2008 to 2011. So you were there with some of the best teams in Tech history. I believe you were there. You won an ACC championship. You were there in 2008, right? You guys won it. And then you were there in 2010 where y'all beat Florida State. And then y'all went back in 2011 to repeat, but y'all ran into Clemson as they started ascending towards their dominance. So you know exactly what it means to win, man. Just real quick before, you know, let's reflect on those times, man, because the backfield was deep. You were there with David Wilson and all those guys, man. What was it like, man, with, you know, all those championship teams, man?
Man, you know, I really want to say it goes back to my freshman year when I first came in. When I redshirted, we had guys like X, we had Vince, we had Eddie Royal, Feets. We had a ton of guys that were just like names in the locker room, and they just set the tone immediately. As soon as we came in, like, hey, we just kind of fall in line. You add those names, and then you throw in GAs like Cornell Brown, Anthony Midget. The tone is just set. You know, you coming in high school thinking you nice, and you're like, nah, it's been a ball, yo.
Got a lot
this
to
is how it
learn.
goes. Right. And you just fall in place, man, and you just kind of like shut up, put your head down. You know, it's at Virginia Tech, lunch pail, hard hat mentality, and you just build off of that. Each year, you got people that leave, and then there's a new leader that emerges, and you step up. And you know, if you dropping games and not winning, you're going to get a call from one of those guys that was in the program last year that's gone, and you're going to hear about it. You know?
Yeah.
So I just think it's a family thing. You know, we welcome Fuente into the fam. I think it's just more so just keeping things going. Looking back to when I was playing with Coach Height, we had that backfield that was full. It was competition every day.
Hold on, Josh. Who was in that backfield for our viewers and listeners? Who was in that backfield? Go ahead. Who was in that backfield?
Shoot, starting out, man, we had Bior, one of the nicest backs I've done seen. We had Bior initially.
Brandon Orr, right?
Brandon Orr. Brandon
Orr was crazy.
Yeah,
he was nice. He was nice.
Yeah. And then me and Darren came along. Once BR left, me and Darren came along, and Darren was doing his thing. I think he was ACC Freshman of the Year. He was definitely a good back. Then the next year, Darren gets hurt, and we got Ryan Williams. Ryan, that's my dog, man. Kevin Jones, that's my boy, but Ryan, yo, hands down the best back Tech's ever seen, yo. Like, hands down. Ryan was a baller, yo.
I forget about Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan was a baller. Ryan was a baller. And then the next year, then we were super crowded. We had David. David came in. David Wilson. Yeah. We were super crowded. I moved to fullback that year. So and then So that year we were stacked. We had Darren, we had Ryan, and we had David. That was a good year, man. We was crowded, a lot of competition. Practice was fun. Just, what more can you ask for? Then my senior year, it was just me and David. So one thing, when I look back to my career, I played with a lot of great guys. Every year, except for my junior year when we was crowded, I was always a solid number 2 guy. That's an important role. You got to come in not knowing when you're going to go in, and you got to go in there and perform. Know when the blitz is coming, be able to pick it up, just make sure the offense doesn't miss a beat. So, man, I'm just kind of proud of myself for sticking it in with those guys. And I love being out. Like, I live out here in Philly now. So a lot of people, Mike, a lot of people talk about you when I'm out here.
No doubt. That's my second home.
Definitely.
Second home.
There's a lot of Giants fans who talk about David. So, man, I'm proud to have played with those guys.
And you know what? I'm proud of you, man. I told you every time I came back to Burke, I went back to Burke a lot back then. And I would tell you, Josh, I appreciate you. I remember seeing you one game we were playing on the road against East Carolina, always a tough matchup because they kind of like our little brothers, but they feel like they should be right where we at. And you and I forgot the other running back had 100 yards rushing. We ran the ball. Logan Thomas was the court. We ran the ball from our own on side of the field all the way down to there and scored. And that sealed the game. And Josh Oglesby was toting the rock. I'm telling you right now, he was toting it. I mean, the thing about it was, man, he would just get it. He'd give you one move and run through you, through tackles.
Literally toting it.
Let's go. That's what we do. Stallions, yo. That's what we do.
Stallions. Yeah. Man, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to ask them, not to get off subject, but I was just curious to know because, Josh had named a couple of guys, that, Midget and, Cornell Brown, who was there. Like, who was some of the guys that influenced y'all to come to Virginia Tech, or what influenced y'all to become Hokies? Because I think in terms of our program, we got a lot of pride, and you talked about it. What influenced both of you guys to come to Virginia Tech? What was the deciding factor?
You go ahead, JC.
Yeah, I know for me, man, it was exactly what J.O. just said, man. I mean, you looked at all the past running backs that we had, going all the way back to Kevin Jones to then you start going to Brandon Old, who I watched in high school. And then you talk about Ryan Williams, Darren Evans, David Wilson, J.O., who's some of the other backs that was even before them. But you just had a stable of backs that
Mike Emo.
Cedric Humes.
He was one of my favorites.
Cedric Humes.
Yeah, Cedric Humes, Mike Emo, all those guys I watched growing up every single year. And then, when I started getting recruited, man, it's like, yo, they putting out running backs like crazy. Everybody went to the league that past like 3 or 4 years during that little time span. So it's like, yo, Virginia Tech is going to run the ball. I'm going to get a lot of playing time, running the ball. It's a power style running game. So I'm looking at that like, yo, this is a very attractive school. And then when I was going, that's when we was winning all those 10-game seasons, back to back. So I'm walking in, everybody got rings on. And I'm just like, as a high schooler, I'm like, yo, this is dope. So they sold me on, the playing time, and then, hey, you're gonna come here, you're gonna go to a bowl game every single year. We're gonna play for BCS bowls, like, let's go get a ring. And I was so, coming from a program like Oscar Smith where, we're used to winning and stuff like that. So that was kind of what sold me, man. The coaching staff was phenomenal. It just felt like home.
Thanks.
And Josh, what about you, man? Because you're from North Carolina.
I'm from North Carolina. My pops was the first black running back at UNC. So I grew up a big UNC fan.
Wow.
Big UNC fan.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow.
Grew up going to those games. Just grew up a huge fan. But as you start getting recruited, you start coming in and being your own person. Got a couple of letters from Tech. They didn't want to offer me until my senior year, but I went up to camp going into my senior year. And my dad and Coach Height, they played together at Carolina. They was both running backs. So had a little connection there. And like, this is 5 minutes into the camp. Beamer comes up and is like, hey, we're going to offer you a scholarship right now. Then Coach Height told me they was only taking 2 backs, which he kept his word. They did. And at the end of camp, what really sealed the deal was Aaron Rouse. He was a senior that year. Man, he talked.
Shout out to Aaron Rouse. That's my boy.
Yeah. He talked to
council
all.
Now.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
He talked to all the campers, man. And you can tell just by his talk of just Virginia Tech, you come in and do what you need to do. You know, put yourself in the program first. Things will take care of itself. But that was the determining factor that made me go ahead and commit. I committed about a week later, and I hit Rouse up on Facebook. I was like, yo, I was at the camp. I appreciate what you said. And, man, he took the time to hit me back. I was like, yo, this really a family. So I went ahead and committed right there.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm so glad you guys did, man. You know, what was some of your JC? I'm gonna start with you because you were in a very interesting situation because you were there 2012 to 2015. So you were there as Beamer and all those guys, the legends that were there when I was young and they were young. All the coaches were kind of moving on to other schools, and Beamer was getting there to retire. You were there for his last season. What do you remember, man? What were some of your fond moments, man? Was it that game? And you were a trivia question, lad. I told you, the Military Bowl. You had that game, the Russian record. What were some of your memories, man? Your favorite times there, man?
Yeah, the one I always talk about is when our backs were against the wall. I want to say it was the 2014, 2015 season. Our backs were against the wall. We had to go and win like 2 or 3 straight. And in order to make it to a bowl game, we had to actually beat UVA. So I was kind of red hot at the time. You know, that's when I got back into the starting role. And we were going against UVA. And, you know, huge game. Whoever, I think they were like 5-6 or something like that. And we were 5-6. So the winner of it goes to the bowl game. Winner goes home. It's the bowl game, you know, streak on the line. I think we were at like 28 or 29 bowl game streak, you know, all that stuff on the line. So during that game, I think I had, you know, like 130 yards, 140 yards rushing the touchdown.
Yes, you did.
It was kind of like, man, at the end of the game, this is probably like one of my first times actually touching the Commonwealth Cup. Honestly, I had the Commonwealth Cup in my hand, and one of the big linemen picked me up, put me on the shoulder, and they just kind of like carrying me around. And that was pretty cool for me, man. I think that was the best memory that I had.
So Mike, I don't know if you saw it, but this is the game. I was there. That's when I did the pregame show before Bill Roth and those guys and Mike Burnup. I was in attendance, and it was sold out. And you know, we had to win that game, and UVA also had to win that game, and it was freezing. I had layers on. In the pregame, I was out tailgating after I did the pregame show before kickoff, and JC's dad and his uncle, they are like rock stars in Blacksburg. And JC Coleman's dad came to me. I was over there munching on a smoked sausage, and And JC, I'm gonna tell you, this is crazy. He prophesied that night. He said, "You watch number 4, talking about JC, and you watch their number 4, Smoke Mizell, and then I want you to watch Bucky. I forgot Bucky's number, and then he wanted to talk about Eli.
7.
Yeah, and then he said, you watch their number 7, Eli Harold. All those guys are top with the guys. He said, I want you to watch them. I want you to see who's the last man standing." And I was in attendance, and JC went off that night. Matter of fact, this was the night that, you know, before the game, I thought it was going to be a brawl. They got into midfield. Yeah. What's my man? I call him Baby Palomalu. He was from Salem. What's it with all the hair? What's his name? I can't pronounce it. Muamatakuuku, the linebacker.
I won't even try.
I won't even mess it up. But he was talking to Smoke Mizell, Eli Harold, and then with chirping. But I will say this, man, you guys stood up that night, man. That was a great game. Bucky Hodges caught the winning touchdown, and that was a great game. And that was a great night for you, JC, man. You always stepped up when you had those moments, man. You the Military Bowl, the UVA game, and there was a few other games you stepped up, man.
Yeah, boy, this connection.
Yeah, Josh.
This connection.
Josh, can you hear us? Oh,
we lost Josh.
We lost him. Yeah.
We need to get him some YG. Verizon's finest.
But while he gets it together, JC, you talk about if you were in the locker room, and they have a game against Georgia Tech. It's a 12 noon kickoff. What would you do, or how would you prepare for this game in the aspect of as a player? They were chanting "Fire Fuente" in the stands. It was you could hear it. You could hear it. A lot of people were talking about it on Twitter. This is a very tough time for Tech. Tech hasn't had this kind of energy since Beamer and them went 2-8-1, and he had to win the following year. You and I and Mike and Josh Oglesby are done playing, but what would you do as a player? How do you prepare for something like this?
Yeah, man, it's crazy, man. Honestly, man, this time that we in right now is as a team leader, I would say, man, we got to really ignore the noise. It's a lot. It's a lot going on right now. I'm talking about from the fans to you listen to all the different podcasts to former players even. It's a lot of noise that's going on, man. And I would kind of challenge the guys to say, hey, man, let's get off of, let's just clear social media, for a little while, man. Let's get off of it. It's very toxic. It's a lot of guys that's trying to get people to leave and all that type of stuff like that. But let's finish out the season, man, and fully buy in these last 6 games, and just really finish out the season strong, and then whatever else is out there. But let's focus in. But what we got to do against Georgia Tech, man, is start out fast. We really got to get out the gate fast, man, and get out there. We're on the road. We got to start out fast, get it going early, and get some points on the board, because Georgia Tech, man, if they start running and they start string together 15 to 20 play drives, man, and you get into the fourth quarter, it's done. It's over.
Yeah.
So, if we can get out fast to where they got to start throwing the ball a little bit more and stuff like that, man, it can kind of change the game around. So it'll be interesting, man. But whatever we got to do, we just got to start off fast.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do, or what I would do. I'm going to my quarterback. And I'm going to always be quarterback biased, fellas. I know what the position entails, even on the collegiate level. It's very serious. You have to be mentally and physically prepared for everything that's going to be thrown your way. And I'm going to always be a guy who's going to put the onus on the quarterback. And if it's 2 of them, it's going to be on both of them. If it's 3 of them, they all going to be ready to play, and they all going to understand like this position is hot. It's serious. And it all starts with you. And the quarterback has to set the tone, regardless of what's going on with the offense. You got the liberty to do a lot of things. The ball is in your hands. You call in the cadence. You call in the play. And change the play. And Dwight and I, we talked about, coaches, coaching and players playing. And sometimes coaches make players, but sometimes players you got to supersede the coaching sometimes. And being 19, 20 years old, that's not too far-fetched. You can comprehend that, and you can do that. So I just will go to my quarterback, whoever's going to start this game, and say, this one is on you.
Yep.
It's been 6-7 games. You put the ball in your hands. We've won some, we've lost some, but I need you to win this. And that's what I would say.
Yeah, Josh, I want to ask you this before we jump into Hokie Trivia. But I want to ask you this, man. I asked JC what he would do, because right now it is crazy with the speculation, people throwing out names and saying they got to fire this guy. They were chanting "Fire Fuente" in the stands. None of us on this podcast have experienced that. We've had tough times. Right. We rose above it. Right now, I'm going to quote some stats from David Till, the great Hall of Fame journalist who covered Mike and I, so many great athletes in high school and college and pro ball, man. Since the start of the 2018 season, the Hokies are 22-22, 15-14 in the ACC. When Fuente first got there, he was a combined 19-8. Overall, Fuente is 41-30 in 6 seasons so far. So he's got a winning record. They can still finish and go 8-4 if they win 5 straight. We hear the losing streaks. You hear the people speculating. Thank God I didn't have social media when we played, but we still heard it from fans on campus.
Oh,
At the end of the day, you were a leader,
Yeah.
Josh. You were a leader. You were considered, a guy that everybody respected on offense and defense. People followed your lead. Well, for the people watching this show, what will you say and do this week as you prepare to take on Georgia Tech? What would be your mindset as an individual player? And what would you say to, the guys, getting ready for this game?
Well, first of all, I let them know the magnitude of this game. Georgia Tech, they got the same record as us. And you look at their coaching situation, they're almost in the same boat as us. I know they're talking there's speculation with their coaches. So if you think them boys don't want it, man, you got another thing coming. So I'm just coming in the locker room like, hey, man.
Wow.
This is a family matter here. Like, we're not only are we playing for ourselves, we're playing for a whole Hokie Nation and the guys that came before us. Man, it's now or never.
Yeah.
There's 5 games left, and there's 5 winnable games. You just look at the record book, and it's 0-0 right now. My goal is to go 5-0 for the rest of the season. And it starts in practice, man. I remember what Beamer said. If you do everything right, if you do the little things right, things are going to go your way in the games. And I look at, all these close games we've had. I'm like, damn, are we not, touching the line? Are we not doing the small things? So I'm making sure everybody's doing the small things, because if you do the small things, the big things are going to come.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm telling the guys in the locker room.
Real quick before we jump into Hokie Trivia, sponsored by Alexandria Restaurant Partners. I want to ask you this, Josh. True or false? Because I'm pretty sure I mentioned this a few weeks ago in the VICK757 show on this show about leadership. You were on the team where y'all lost a very tough loss, a game everyone felt you should have won to Boise State, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you came back in the same week, which I thought was the craziest schedule. Being a minute later was y'all lost to JMU, right?
5 days. Yeah, 5 days later.
5 days later. However, reports came out that you and Tyrod and all y'all had a players-only meeting, and everybody cleared that it was. I mean, I'm not gonna get into details, but wasn't it like? I'm not gonna say it was some chairs thrown, but wasn't it? Hey, everybody left it out in that meeting. It was just for the players, right?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I remember we even had to tell Belen trying to hang around like, nah, Belen, get out.
Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Belen. Man, shout out to Belen, man. I love it. Shout out to Belen. I love John Belen. I love him.
Yeah. But man, it was a good heartfelt meeting, man. At that point, everybody's out. It's just you and your brothers. And man, that was a come to Jesus meeting. That's what I like to call it. And we rattled off 11 straight. So man, that I can't tell y'all. I'm pretty sure y'all know what was said in that locker room.
Yeah. Oh, no question.
It's what needed to be said. It's what needed to be said. And sometimes, I mean, we all know. Sometimes, man, it's just us. We know what need to be said. So
yeah,
go ahead, cuz real quick. He just said 2 things that stood out: family matter, and I gotta ask you this: what was it like being in the huddle with Tyrod?
Bro, it was fun, man. Ty, the most cool.
That's my guy.
Calm,
that's what I heard.
Yeah, both of y'all. What was it like, man?
Ty's so smooth. It's almost like your big brother, man. Like I'm a little brother. Anytime with my big brother, I'm like, oh man, we got this, yo. We good. I ain't worried about nothing. And that's how it was with Ty, man. Just cool, no sweat.
Casual.
Yeah, man. Just laid back.
Getting it done.
Looking at him today, it's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. That's why he's still in the league.
I had to ask you that.
That's a great question. Tyrod was so smooth, man. I mean, he never changed. Even that great pass to Danny Cole and the game-winning touchdown pass to Darrell Roberts, he just was chilling. My heart was beating like I was on the field. He was just out there chilling.
Man, the quarterbacks. Great running backs and great quarterbacks.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Hey, we are at this segment which everybody loves. We are at Hokie Trivia, sponsored by Alexandria Restaurant Partners. Make sure if you're in the Northern Virginia or Orlando area, you check them out at www.alexandriarestaurantpartners.com. They're one of our great sponsors, man. We got Hokie Trivia. Trust me, guys, I'm going to see what y'all working with mentally. If y'all true Hokies, everybody comes on here. Nobody has yet gotten 4 out of 4. And I think we only have one player, which was Chris Ellis, that got 3 out of 4. So he right now holds the record. So here we go.
Shout out to Big Man.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Virginia Tech has won 6 Coastal Division championships joining the ACC in 2004. The next closest team with 4 Coastal Division championships is A, the Miami Hurricanes, B, Georgia Tech, C, North Carolina, or D, Pittsburgh. So Virginia Tech has 6 Coastal Division championships. So the Coastal is obviously Virginia Tech, Miami, North Carolina, those teams on that side of the ACC. Which team is next with 4 division titles? I'll start with you, JC. Is it Miami? Is it Georgia Tech, North Carolina, or Pittsburgh?
I'm going with Georgia Tech.
Okay. All right, let me get my victory light pin over here. JC is going with Georgia Tech. Mike, who you got?
North Carolina.
You going North Carolina?
Good year.
All right, Mike, North Carolina. And my God, Josh, who you got?
On Georgia Tech, I know North Carolina, they probably had a couple of them things vacated.
Okay, the correct answer is Georgia Tech. They are right behind Tech with 4 Coastal Division championships. People forget, man, during the Paul Johnson era, they were right there. Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech had some great rivalry games. They never really got to play that game with you, Mike, when lightning hit Lee Corso's car. Yeah. The game got canceled in the Black Coaches Association kickoff game. So when Tech entered the ACC, that was a very anticipated game. And Georgia Tech, man, when they came in, if it wasn't Virginia Tech, it was Georgia Tech. Everybody else in the Coastal, Miami only has 1. UVA only has 1. That came a few years ago. North Carolina, Pittsburgh only has 1. And North Carolina, I believe, has 2, I think. I know JC's year, they went undefeated. They won the Coastal. Yep. And I believe that might be it. So Virginia Tech, the excellence you guys talked about, we used to dominate that Coastal Division before it became every other year. All right, guys. So JC and Josh, you guys got 1. All right, y'all off to a good start. Let's see what you're working with. Question number 2. In the 2010 ACC season, the Hokies won the ACC with an 8-0 conference record and an 11-3 overall record. That season, the Hokies beat North Carolina State on the road and also Georgia Tech in Lane Stadium. In both games, this player helped secure the win for the Hokies with a kickoff return for a touchdown in both games. So against NC State, there was a kickoff return that broke and then there was also against Georgia Tech, there was a huge kickoff return. So was it A, Demetrius Knowles, B, Marcus McHale, C, David Wilson, or D, Eddie Royal? Josh, I'm going to start with you.
I'll go with my bro, David Wilson.
All right. Okay. All right, Mike, who you got?
Going with David Wilson. He seemed prone to take a kick return to the house. 2 of them. Back to back.
And who you got, JC?
I'm gonna go with Dave as well, David Wilson.
Y'all sure it's David Wilson? You know I'll be tricky with these. I'm tricky with this.
Eddie was a punt returner.
Okay.
100%.
Okay,
Mike said that with confidence, right, Josh?
Yeah, he did.
So you guys are correct. David Wilson, man, he broke that game open, man. The Georgia Tech game was on a Thursday night. Again, Georgia Tech, I kind of gave y'all some hints. Virginia Tech had those big matchups, man. And David Wilson, when I was putting together the highlight montage for this show, man, David Wilson, good Lord. Him and Cam Chancellor, you almost wonder, man, if neither one hurt their neck, what could have been, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Dave, I had him in
fantasy.
Shout out to Cam. I had him in fantasy one year, man, and David Wilson against the Giants had a total of 322 yards between kickoff returns, touchdown runs. He would do that backflip. I think I had like 70 points with him on fantasy. Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, we rolling tonight, man. This might be the best one ever. Okay, let me see if I can get y'all on one. Number 3, this Virginia Tech wide receiver holds a single game record with 279 yards receiving. That's 279 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. Is it A, Cam Phillips, B, Isaiah Ford, C, Jared Boykin, or D, Ernest Wilford? Yeah.
Ernest.
Go back a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna JC Coleman. I'll start with you, my guy. Is it the record for a single game yardage and touchdown is by this player? This player had 207 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns in one game. Was it Cam Phillips, Isaiah Ford, Jared Boykin, or Ernest Wilford?
I'm going Isaiah Ford, man.
Okay, all right. JC saying Isaiah Ford. Cuz, who you got?
I'm gonna go Cam Phillips. Hey.
Okay. And Josh, who you got, my guy?
I think I'm gonna go with Mike, y'all. I'm with Cam.
All right. So you guys are all wrong. The correct answer was in 2002. Ernest Wilford went bananas. He had 4 touchdowns.
Keyword.
Ernest Wilford had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I didn't say it. I wasn't gonna give you the year.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't give you the year.
That's why it's trivia. That's why it's trivia.
Ernest Wilford went crazy, man. It's amazing when you go back. Like even the guys before me in the late 80s, man. The records, when you go and do the trivia, you see the records, it's crazy. Ernest Wilford, 279, but I don't blame y'all for saying Cam Phillips because when you look at their record books, boy, Cam is everywhere. Cam everywhere, boy. Shout out to Cam Phillips, man. I love watching him play.
And real quick, shout out to Ernest. We tried to turn him into Randy Moss my second year. He just wasn't ready. Ernest eventually got there, but he wasn't ready.
Ernest came into Blacksburg as a defensive end, bro. I was still coach. I came back. I was helping out Coach Gentry, and I had Ernest and Keith Willis over there with me, working with the O-line, D-line. And next thing I know, I came back. My guy's catching touchdowns, man. Ernest, man, he's a cop now, man. Great guy.
Shout out to Ernest, serving the community.
Okay, guys. All right, here we go. Last one. Let's see if y'all can get to that third answer, JC and Josh. Which VT player is amongst the all-time sack leader with 4 sacks in the game? So this defensive lineman had 4 sacks in one game. He's not the only one to do it, but on this list he is, right? So is it Jim Davis? Is it J.C. Price? Is it James Gale? Or is it Jason Worlds? Josh, I'll start with you. Josh, so again, this player had 4 sacks in one game, okay? Is it Jim Davis, J.C. Price, James Gale, or Jason Worlds? Now, I'll even help you guys out. It's the last one. The game that this player did it in was against Miami Hurricanes.
Okay. Let's go with Jimmy Gale.
James Gale. All right, here we go. Here we go. All right. JC, who you got, my guy?
I'm going to go with Gale too, man.
Okay. All right. Y'all going with Bethel High School's finest, the savage known as James Gale. Mike, who you going with? You got Jason Worlds.
I'm going with D, Jason Worlds. And I forget how nice Jason Worlds was, even when he went to Pittsburgh.
The Steelers.
He had game. He retired too soon. But shout out to Big Homie Worlds.
I love, you know what, guys? I'm going to give you an answer in a second. I love the trivia, man, because it reminds our viewers and listeners that this brotherhood and the talent we've had over the last 30, 40 years is crazy. The correct answer is J.C. Price.
It was J.C. Price.
J.C. Price had 4 sacks against Miami. And it was in
JC, no doubt.
It was in 1990. It was in 1995. Him and Cornell and Myron Newsom set the tone. We won that game 13. We only won 13-7. On that Miami team, they were ranked the top 15. They had Ray Lewis. They had athletes all over the place. Jamie German, everybody. All those guys from the U documentary, some of them were still left over. Virginia Tech was 0-2, and they weren't saying fire Beamer, but they wanted some changes. And we had a players-only meeting as well up at the old hotel we stayed at in Raff. I was a youngin'. And JC and Jim Barron, man, I still get chills talking about it, guys. They talked about it, man, and they were just like, hey, we can win out. We're going to win out. We're not going to lose another damn game. And JC Price led by his example, 4 sacks in 1 game, man. To our viewers, it's tough to find that on YouTube. You know, that's back in the day when you popped the VCR tape in.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, guys. Hey, man, we are now at the end of the show, man. We're going to do our Soul Hoodie, man. Soul Hoodie, one of our sponsors. Check them out at Soul Hoodie, www.soulhoodie.com for gear and paraphernalia, you know, for athletes, college, high school, and pro. We're at the Soul Hoodie Hokie Shoutouts. This is a segment where we end the show with, you know, shouting out anybody that we want from the Hokie Brotherhood. It could be a academic advisor, professor, somebody doing great that just beat cancer, one of your teammates, a coach you had, just showing love, man, and just giving credit and giving some love to somebody y'all want to shout out, man. JC, man, is who do you want to have for your Hokie shout out?
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out Luther Maddy, man. He was a tackle with us back when I was playing, man. But the dude is he's out here in Lynchburg actually with me. I'm in Lynchburg, Virginia. He's out here too. First of all, you know, congratulations. I want to say he got a baby girl on the way.
Okay.
He just dropped that on Instagram for us to see, man. So that's a real cool. But as far as stuff he's doing for, you know, off the field, man, he's a real estate agent, and every single day it seems like he's just pushing out a whole lot of content. He's doing really well. He's selling a lot of houses. The market is doing really well. He's found his niche in that. But additionally, he's doing a lot in community as well. You know, he has his Luther Maddy camp that he holds yearly. You know, wasn't able to do it last year with COVID, but he did it this year. And we was able to support him with that. That was real cool. And he's giving back to the kids, helping develop. And he's just doing a whole lot, man. Dude is really killing it. And, you know, I really applaud him for it.
No doubt, man. No, that's a great one. Shout out to Luther Maddy, man. An all-time great, man. Was great defense attack. Also from that long history of Florida players that Coach Wiles would get into Blacksburg and wreak havoc. Came up there. The Florida guys, they different. They come with a different swag, though.
They come with attitude.
Attitude. Josh, man, who you got, man?
I got 2. I'm gonna start with Teresa and Ron Maybaum. Man, these are you know, Hokies that turned family. They used to tailgate with my parents and my family anytime we come up to Blacksburg. So it's been probably over 10 years since I've seen them, but we still stay connected on social media. Man, they're good Hokies. You know, they're diehard, you know, always showing up, supporting. That's what Hokie Nation is about on the outside. You know, I know what the brotherhood is like, but they've kind of showed me what it's like, you know, with the fan base. But I want to give a special shout out to Tim Sandrick. He's in our brotherhood. He just posted he's diagnosed with cancer. Praying for him, man. Praying for him. That hit close to home. My wife was diagnosed with cancer in 2019, and she beat it. So, man, just be strong, bro. We all behind you. We're praying for you. Man, you got through the winter workouts. You get through this too, bro. So we're praying for you.
Yep,
Great shout out, man. Great shout out. Great shout out, man. We definitely praying for you, and we love you, and you're gonna get through it, man. Mike, who do you have, brother?
My shout out this week, I'm going on the defensive side of the ball, and you know, I want to shout out Mike Hawks and Jamel.
Jamel Smith.
Jamel Smith. Yeah, Mike
Jamel.
Hawks and Jamel Smith, the tandem. Like, you know, Mike Hawks and Jamel, like, their chemistry was amazing. Jamel was the unsung hero and the leader. Mike Hawks was too. You're talking about 2 guys that pushed one another and was there for one another all the time, took the onus on the defense, making sure that the defense was always intact, always playing aggressive and always knowledgeable. And, you know, I watched those guys, and, you know, I learned what it was like to be a leader. So, you know, everything I've seen them do on the defensive side of the ball, I try to duplicate that on the offensive side of the ball and, you know, bring guys together, the camaraderie. We got to be on the same page. And, you know, while those guys think I wasn't watching as a freshman, while they was juniors and seniors, I was watching their every move. So Shout out to the guys who paved the way as leaders. Jamel and Mike Hawks was definitely two of those guys.
No doubt, man. And my Soul Hoodie Hokie shout out goes to number one, JC and you and Josh, man. I always say you don't win championships and you don't win football games without having talented players sacrifice. And JC, I saw you in high school. I remember you committed to Tech at the spring game. I was headed back because I believe the game got rained out. And I was with my my wife, still my wife. And I was like, man, we just got JC Coleman. I saw him play in high school at Oscar Smith. You were a winner then. You're a winner now. I was a big fan of you, man. I'm glad you opened that door for Oscar Smith. We got a lot of guys that came there and did the thing. Should have got a few more. I'm not going to mention Andrew Brown, but at the same time, he had a great career. Shout out to Andrew Brown. But I appreciate you and your family, your uncles and your dad. They always show me love. Josh, man, I can't tell you enough, man. So I'm not gonna get into it, the whole UNC Duke thing. That's for a different thing. But we have great conversations about music, family, basketball. I was born in Durham, North Carolina. That's my second home. And Josh, man, I was glad you made Virginia Tech your home because you sacrificed your game, because a lot of guys now will be in the transfer portal, dipping and leaving and out, and you stayed there like JC and you made it work, man. And you had an impact on and off the field. You were involved in the Greek fraternity, Kappa, you everything. You're so much more than an athlete. And then my last shout out is to my brother. If you ever saw Remember the Titans, they had that whole strong side, left side thing. That's the thing me and Derek Smith used to say. Derek Smith, drafted by the Washington football team in the 5th round.
That was your boy.
He's still my boy, still my brother.
That's your boy.
He is the interim principal at Metz Middle School, man. Like me, passionate, helping the youth and the families. He's got beautiful daughters, 2 daughters. Shout out to his daughters and his wife, Liz. They just celebrated a birthday for his one of his daughters. I can't remember her name, but Derek is doing great things in the Northern Virginia area. Didn't finish his football career because of a knee injury, man, but Derek is having a huge impact, just like 3 of you guys and so many guys in our brotherhood and the Hokie Nation, man. So thank everybody for tuning in again to the VICK757 show, talking all things tech. JC Coleman, keep being great. Josh, man, shout out to you and your crew, man, everybody, man, holding it down. Thank you guys. And to Hokie Nation, man, keep sticking with the team no matter what. We appreciate you on behalf of all the players and former players. We appreciate y'all. Show out and show up if you can to Georgia Tech. 12 noon kickoff this Saturday. If you can't be there, turn on. Be safe if you're traveling down to Atlanta. Be careful. Mike, that's Mike's second home, so you never know. You can't get too much.
I got a lot of homes.
Yeah.
I got a lot of spots.
Yeah.
but Tech need to pull this one out. Shout out to the brothers on the phone. Thank you guys, man. Josh, JC, thank you guys.
Yeah, appreciate the invite. Always love, man. Always love.
Yes, sir. Y'all be blessed, man. Thank you guys for a great show. Go Hokies.
Yep.
Go Hokies. Let's go.